right, we are live.
We are live.
So, we were the other day, I guess it was yesterday, we were all talking about, all the coaches got together and we were all talking about traditions. And I was like, I don't really have a tradition, but I think that I'm going to start making one. So, you know how I time lapsed us decorating the tree?
Yeah.
That could be our new tradition because I did it a couple of years ago when my parents were in town. And I just think it's a cool time capsule of seeing us decorate it and how we do it differently.
Absolutely. That was really cool. It came out nice. And your dogs were involved. Even better.
Yeah, the dogs move around and Rocket's at the end sitting on the couch.
So cute.
Yeah, but I like your tradition of going and getting a tree. Tell everybody about that.
Oh, so we drive outside of Denver up into the mountains, and you can get a permit through the Park Service and then cut down your own Christmas tree. And it, sometimes is a pretty wonky Charlie Brown Christmas tree, and other times you find just the perfect, beautiful fir tree. So it's always just kind of, how far you're willing to trek in. And, it was like 2.5, 3 miles to get a tree this time, but we got a beautiful tree. So it's just kind of fun. And then we go with 6 families. And so once you're up there, then somebody brings a barbecue and make some burgers. And last year it was freezing and we were all miserable. And this year it was so hot, we were all taking our coats off and our gloves off. So there's always snow on the ground, which is nice because that makes it even feel more Christmassy. But yeah, it's a really fun tradition. So.
The weather's been all over the place. I've been thinking about our friends in Pennsylvania because they are just getting so much snow.
Oh, yeah.
Pennsylvania, we're thinking about you and hoping that you're safe and you have everything you need to be able to manage the weather. Yeah. All right, so I'll go ahead and get us started. Let me go ahead and add this to the stage. But I want to just thank everybody for joining us and welcome to the Dog Gurus Live. We are a place where we share tips, strategies, and inspiration to help pet care businesses thrive. I'm Shantae Marquez, a Profit Network coach, and I'm with Carrie Campbell, who is also a Profit Network coach. So at the Dog Gurus, we are all about providing education and coaching for the pet care entrepreneurs. And what we really want, our heart's desire, is to help you succeed. We want you to really have the best experience in your entrepreneurial journey, and we want to be there to championship you to really succeed and reach all the goals that you want. All right, so the other thing that I wanted to mention is our Pet Business Growth Workshop. So that is coming up. It's in February, at the end of February, the 26th through the 28th in Fort Worth, Texas. If you haven't bought your ticket yet, there's still some available. So get your tickets before they run out. And I also just wanted to take a moment and talk about how our workshop is a little different from maybe your typical trade show. So we are formulating this as a workshop session. So we want you to really go home with strategies that you've worked on at the workshop and be able to implement them into your business. And we are actually formulating these workshops to be specialized to whatever phase of business that you're in. So if you're a startup, we have something for you. And you can see on the screen that we're going to have this special workshop session that's talking about building your dream pet care business. And we're going to have guest speakers from TWC. They do building, construction, and design, and they can help guide you through some amazing information about, things to be aware of when you're looking to build or renovate an office space or a building space. So we also have workshop sessions in the growth phase. And if you're 3 years or older, we also have stuff in the profit phase. So we got something for everybody and the managers too.
I was going to say, don't forget the managers.
Yeah.
It's always great for them to have a place to go and be among peers and not just be among business owners. So they have an opportunity to learn some techniques on managing individuals and how to move their programs forward at the level that they're at in the business. So
Darren is saying our mics are off. Here. Oh, so I don't think our mics are. So Darren, can you hear us now?
Oh, I think he's saying, can you confirm that his mic is off? And that is yes. They can't talk.
Yeah, for sure. Your mic's off. I think all of the streaming services make sure that the guests' mics are off. So, but thank you for being considerate, Darren. Darren, thanks for catching us. Darren's one of our Profit Network members, and we always love it when our Profit Network members come. Awesome. Okay, Lincoln too. We're running on all cylinders. I forgot to even say that. Hey, if you can hear us, make sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about our topic today. 2025 is coming upon us in less than 30 days. Can you believe it?
We are 21 days away from Christmas.
You made it through 2024. So let's just give a pat on the back about that, because honestly, like I just want to say that it has been a little bit soft year for the industry as a whole. I have talked to several businesses that are thriving and booming, but I've also talked to a handful of businesses that are struggling still. So look, if you made it, keep it up. Things are going. They say I could barely remember 2024. I feel the same way. But look, our goal is to talk about how we can make 2025 a year that you totally crush it. That's what we want for you. And really the best way to do that is to just let's talk about some goal setting. Let's get some intentions out there and let's make it happen. So Carrie, I know this is you love goals, so I'll let you kind of kick things off. I have some ideas to share. We're really going to talk about goals in certain subjects like financial management, customer-centric approach, loyalty programs, and just employee well-being. So I'll let you kick it off.
Awesome. Thank you. So we love to approach a year by setting goals. Having a budget in place would be even better, but some people we know don't, necessarily work off of a budget, and that's great. But if we can set some goals at the beginning of the year so that we have something that is attainable that we can be reaching for each day, each week, each month, et cetera, it's going to make the year much more successful. Within the Profit Network, we are constantly stressing goals for our members. And we also talk a lot about SMART goals. And SMART is an acronym for that it's a specific goal, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's relevant, and it's time bound. So it's got a certain amount of duration that you're going to be working to achieve this goal. And when you're doing that, I always recommend to people that you set not only business goals, but that you set some personal goals as well. And I know people make their New Year's resolution every year, and I think a lot of people then pretty much instantly break their New Year's resolution. So instead, if you make some really small goals that actually change your daily habits, that's a great way to increase your productivity. Or maybe it's that you actually want to work less and that you need to set aside time to do something that you enjoy that's on the personal side. Maybe it's, weight loss or an exercise, whatever you decide that is the right goal for you. Just make sure that you're actually putting it down, that you're taking steps daily, weekly, monthly to attain those goals. When we look at the goals that we want for your business, we actually have a checklist that we say, take a look at this. There's the year-end side, and then there's the New Year side. And both of those are going to be looking at the financial aspects and the operations of your business. So if you're looking at the financial, at the end of the year, you can be looking at, maybe you're doing all the preparation for your taxes and there's information you have to get to your accountants. And then vice versa, at the beginning of the year, you're looking at, what are some big expenditures I may have that's coming up this year? So what do I need to do to set some money aside for this? Or maybe it's a different plan and you need to put something in place for being able to measure that goal. There's, a lot of things that you can do with your staff that when you're setting business goals, it's not that you have to do all of the work yourself. So there's a delegation aspect to this as well. If you look at, maybe that you want to increase your sales by 10%. Well, that could be a reservation specialist who's answering the phones and that they have a component for selling reservations or certain, packages or add-ons that could go towards that overall 10% goal. Maybe it's your staff that work the front desk and they're doing some upselling of different add-ons when people come in to drop off their pets. So, there's a lot of different ways that it can be delegated out, but also has everybody actually contributing towards the overall goal. And then I'll stop and see if you want to jump in, Shantae.
So I have some, here's a couple of things that I think are really great goals to set. And Carrie's right. I mean, make sure they are attainable. So for the financial management, if you're not implementing peak pricing, consider it. Maybe that's one of the goals that you do for 2025. Because I think for my business, we actually did peak pricing starting from, I think it was the beginning of April through December. So really the first quarter of the year, we dropped our prices, but everything else, it was a much higher rate throughout the year. I know a lot of businesses, a lot of our clients, they do peak pricing around the holidays. A lot of people do it. If you haven't tried it, I would consider trying it, especially if you're looking for a way to boost your revenue and get the most out of those holiday seasons. The other thing that I would say is, if you're not tracking your KPIs, which is your key performance indicators, maybe just pick 3. I was going to say 1, but I'm going to say challenge you. Pick 3 KPIs that you are going to track. And I would say to get started, it's so easy. Just start tracking your occupancy on a weekly basis. Something that easy. You can go into your software and start tracking it. I mean, track the amount of exit baths that you do. You'll start to see trends. And with those trends, it's going to give you really valuable information that you can learn from and that you can strategize with. And that's what those numbers are for. Those numbers are for you to make data-driven decisions, not just what you feel like's happening. Because I was somebody who was like, well, I feel like I'm pretty busy. I feel like we're gaining a lot of customers, but I couldn't really tell you how many are my new customers I was gaining per month. But when I started tracking it, I was like, holy moly, I'm getting 150 to 200 new customers a month. I'm talking to. I'm not, all of those weren't booking, but those are the amount of people that I'm talking to. And you know what those people did? They actually got included into all my marketing when I spoke to them. So that's KPIs. Let's start out with 3 if you're tracking 0, and then grow from there. I think that's really attainable. And then the other thing that I would suggest as far as the financial section is maybe look at diversifying your revenue streams. So if you're doing 2 main services, let's just say daycare and lodging, maybe you look at adding enrichment, or maybe you look at adding something like VIP packages for your lodging. I mean, there is so much you can do. Maybe you offer upgrades, but look at diversifying your revenue streams, adding some enrichment, maybe adding a membership component. That's huge. That is huge right now. And it's not just our industry that's doing it. Everybody and their grandmother has a membership to be a part of these days. So I think it would be really well received on that. So that's what I have to say about the financial section.
Well, and a lot of this is just changing your mindset, because if it's something that you haven't done, sometimes the whole hump you have to get over is the fear of doing something new. So like you said, Shantae, whether it's just tracking KPIs, make it simple. Pick 1 to 3 and just start tracking, because it's amazing when you start to get that data, what you can do to make smarter decisions. Also, if you have an opportunity to, either ask for reviews, or if your software allows for an exit survey that you can give to your clients, the more information that you get from them, the more you can tailor your services to what they really want from you. And that's just another way. It's just getting some of that data into your hands so that you're able to make smarter decisions. Also, don't forget to celebrate those little wins that you have, because maybe it's something that you've never done before, and you get through 1 month of tracking some KPIs, and it's so exciting that you have data. So celebrate with, was it your front end staff, or who was it that was helping you track that information, and do something fun where you can just acknowledge everybody who was part of that process.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about some of the things that they could do for making their business more customer centric?
So, well, again, I would say if you have the ability to survey your clients and do something that is specifically tailoring to what their requests are, and maybe that is just as simple as starting to track every single phone call that comes in, or when people are dropping their pets off, what are they asking for? I remember years ago, such a good example is that we would have people come in and they'd say, do you guys do nail trims? And it was like, well, yeah, I suppose we could do that. And then one of my staff said, what if we just put a little clipboard on the front counter? And then if people came in, they could just sign up on the clipboard. Well, sure enough, we put that clipboard out there and it was there for like 10 years, before we had like electric ways to, add those little things on to the software. And yet that was such an amazing tally for us. And we just kept increasing the rate of what we were charging. And it was a great revenue source. So I gave that employee who made the suggestion a $30 gift card. And then we had at the end of like our first month, and we had like 100 nail trims in that month, we were like, woohoo, so we had a pizza party. And it was just acknowledging everybody. So, anytime that you can come up with something that is driven by the customer's requests, it's going to be a way that you're going to tailor your services to what they want the most.
I love that clipboard idea because it's like quietly suggestive selling.
I know.
That is awesome. The other thing.
I was just on a call this morning, and the gal was telling me that they were going to start doing nail trims because the veterinarians in their area are so short on vet tax that they don't want to do nail trims anymore. So they're charging $48 for a nail trim. Wow, my $15 suddenly seems really cheap. But it's true.
Yeah, but they don't want to do them. I mean, I kept raising my prices for the shuttle because I didn't want to do them either.
And there's always going to be people who will pay it, because they don't want to drive there. They don't want to do their own dog's nails, whatever the circumstances are. So
some additional things that you could do for customer-centric approach, and Carrie hit on this a little bit, but have personalized communication with your customers. And what we mean by that is exactly what Carrie said. When they call in for that inquiry to discover what services you have and your pricing and all that, use that as an opportunity to find out the needs of the customer. It's really, really important. Once you know the needs and the challenges they're having with their pets, you can really have a personalized conversation with them and explain how you can improve and help their relationship with their dog. So I would say, try to build that into your onboarding system when you're talking to a new client. The other thing is a lot of the software that we used for reservation systems these days come with apps where the pet owners can actually book their own reservations. I think that is really for the younger generation, millennials and below, who are booking your services. I think that's a huge benefit for them. That's what they want to do. For my business, we actually, if you were a brand new customer, we wanted you to call, and because we wanted to have a conversation with you to find out your needs and if we were a good fit for you. And then after you were a customer and went through that initial phone call, then we allowed our customers to book online because we had some history with them. The other thing is, like Carrie said, is implement that client feedback loop. I know that there's a lot of great companies out there where you can implement surveys, or even the software programs that you can implement surveys. So as soon as you check out and send the invoice, a few minutes later, it will send them an email with a survey of how their experience was. So those are some things that you can implement and think about doing. I think they're pretty simple, especially the client feedback loop one is really good. Some of the other things we could talk about: loyalty programs, because that's big. So celebrating milestones with the loyalty programs. If you have customers who are using you regularly, you definitely want to celebrate birthdays and milestones, or they've had their 100th visit with you, something like that. We talked about memberships, referral incentives. That's really good too. So if your customers, have them be cheerleaders for you. That's really great. And what we did for my business is, if we got a referral, then the customer who gave us the referral received $25 credit to use any way that they want at our business. And we actually had a lot of people come in and use that. So that's really great. Any other things? Did you do stuff for your loyalty programs?
So we use Ginger, and they actually have a loyalty program that you can set up within their software, and that was great. Prior to that, we had an app that just had a QR code scanner, and so we had this QR code that was on our front counter, and if they came in and scanned it with the app, it would note that that was like one visit, and you could only scan it once in a 24-hour period. So, if they came on a daily basis or a couple times a week, they would just get these scans and it would add up. And once they had like 20 visits, then they would get something free. Maybe it was a nail trim or, treats, or, it was a free visit, just depending on the quantity of times that they scanned it. So there's a lot of different ways that you can acknowledge that. I agree with you, Shante, on the referrals, because, word of mouth is the best and cheapest advertising that you can get. So if you have people that are really satisfied with your services, they're telling their friends come in, that's just a great way that you can, reward your existing client, but also get a new client out of the deal as well.
Oh yeah. And I have a good tip, especially during this holiday season, because I know a lot of the businesses are going to be sold out, and you always have the week of the holiday. You always have a ton of people calling, right? Last minute, trying to get their dog in because maybe their pet sitter fell through or something or other, right? Last minute trip decision. So if you can't accommodate those guests, I recommend putting them on a waiting list in case something opens up. But if they are on your waiting list and you can't accommodate them, send them a $25 gift certificate or credit, so that they can come back when they do need to use the services again and choose you instead of going somewhere else. So that's a great idea, actually.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah. And then let's talk about, we talked about employee well-being, but can we talk about just personal well-being?
Absolutely. I think this time of year, whether you are, staff member, management, leadership level, or owners, it's something that you really have to pay attention to, because this is the busy time and the focus has to be on the pets that are in your care. But if you're not in your best place, if you're not feeling your best, then that's going to just trickle down all the way down to whoever the, least experienced staff person is in your facility. And you want to make sure that that everybody is well taken care of. And that can come in a lot of forms. I remember we used to say that we were worth our weight in carbohydrates because we would get so many cookies and cakes and things like that delivered at Christmas or during the holidays. But yeah, I mean, I just think that there's a lot of things that you can do. Maybe you have people that are all vying for a day off, and you want to try and accommodate as many as you can, even though it's that busy season and you really need all hands on deck. So think of a way that you could almost do a lottery, that you could do something to reward staff with some time off, whether that's, they get to leave their shift an hour or so early, or maybe they actually get the holiday off that they're looking at. Do you have any ideas of what you did during the busy season?
We had a kudos for the employees. We had a kudos thing, but for myself, I always planned a trip in January because that was the time that I could travel. It was the slowest. January, February is the slowest time of the year. So if you haven't given yourself a vacation because, you are working so many hats and you're still very much entrenched in working the operations, really make it a point in 2025 to at least give yourself a long weekend. If you can't take a week off, 2 weeks, at least give yourself a long weekend. You really deserve it. And it's so important that you have that recharge. Because I know when I'm stressed and I'm overworked, I am not the nicest person, So,
acknowledging that is great, right?
Yeah. And I would feel bad if I snapped, or if I was short, or if I was like uncompassionate, but it was because I wasn't giving myself what I needed. So just be kind to yourself and really try to take a long weekend, make it a point. And really January, February is a really good time to do it. Maybe you couple it with our event, the pet visit. And you do
Get a trip to Fort Worth.
And then, hang out in Fort Worth or head down to Austin because that's really cool too. So, there's also
stomping grounds.
exactly. There's so much you can do, but really take care of yourself, because I know we talk a lot about employee well-being and doing everything for the employees, and we really bend over backwards for our employees. I truly believe that, but you need to do that for yourself too. Yeah.
And even if you feel like you can't leave town, just doing a staycation and staying away from work for, like you said, a long weekend or a week, that's going to help you recharge, even if it's just not going into the facility every day. So baby steps, right? But, a trip to Mexico or someplace where there's, sun, sand, and margaritas is a great rejuvenator.
Yeah, I didn't tell you I'm doing a girls' weekend at the end of January. It's on the calendar though. So
Okay.
yeah, we're going to do girls' weekend in Mexico. So
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up. We're about almost to the 30-minute mark. So again, join us at the Pet Business Growth Workshop. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, please do so. I will also invite you to join our Grow Your Pet Care Business Facebook group. That's a great place to just have a community of like-minded people and just have a support network there. And I'll go ahead and add that link into the chat here. And we will be on for the next 2 weeks on the lives. And then, of course, the week of Christmas, we will be taking off. So be on the lookout for some great new topics.
2025 has, right? Our goals are there. We have a lot of good stuff to be talking about next year. So
absolutely. All right, everybody. Take care. Have a great day.